Hello, everybody. It's Final Rich here. Final Tag 2019. Andrew Tales from the Crate was the first video I saw of this. I've seen several since, and I'm going to jump right on in. The first question is your best find of 2018. I just did a video showing my best finds, used vinyl finds. But I thought I'd show this one more time because I'm a dick. Actually, the Metal Theologian said he wishes I would stop showing this album because I guess he once had it and he got rid of it. But I don't even know if he really even likes this album. But it's the Cro-Mags, The Age of Quarrel, a fantastic hardcore punk album from '86, first pressing. Now I'll give a shout out to a VC member. Well, I give shout outs in my videos. So if you watch any of my videos, I will occasionally give shout outs. But I'm going to give a shout out to Rodus 1000. It's either Rodus or Rodus 1000. RODUS 1000. He's from New Zealand. And I'm going to show this Sun Ra. He had asked what other Sun Ra album I had. I bought a Sun Ra album. I believe it was in my, I showed it in my Vinyl Finds 100 video, and I said it sucked. And that I had bought one in the 70s, early 70s. I got this at Salvation Army, probably for a quarter. And 40 years later, whatever, I bought my second Sun Ra, and I thought it was horrible. This one I think is a lot better. It's After the End of the World. And he was asking which one it was, so I dug it out, show it, and give a shout out to Rodus 1000, dude from New Zealand. What's the next one? What's a hole you're looking to fill? Well, I think the biggest hole in my vinyl collection is probably the Kinks. I like their early stuff, but I like the mid 60s to late 60s stuff the best, up until that one that has Lola. But I have no Kinks on vinyl. I have them all on CD, so it's really not a big deal. They're just too expensive. People are asking too much for them, and there's always something else I'd rather spend the money on, So, but there's Traffic is a band that I want to get all their albums except for the last one, that one about the Eagles, and I want to get all the Jefferson Airplane albums. I'm only missing one Traffic album, and I'm missing two Jefferson Airplane albums. So those three albums are probably my biggest hole, and I'll find them. They're common albums. A cheap album that's really good. This might surprise people, but I picked this one. Culture Club, Kissing to Be Clever. I know people are gonna say, "What? Culture Club?" I think Boy George had a fantastic voice. In fact, I even considered putting him in my 25 best singers. But Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? That's a great song, man. And White Boy Dance Mix? Fuck yeah. Okay, my best, your favorite side project. Now this one, I wasn't too sure what to pick. But this is the Tater Tots. It's a side project of Red Cross. And a really cool album. The name of the album is Mono. It's got Yoko Ono doing the cover from Help. Really cool idea. But it doesn't really work all the way. I mean, some of the songs are really great, and others, not that great. Another side project of Red Cross was Anarchy 6, Hardcore Lives. And this is a picture of them there. Kind of taking the piss out of suicidal tendencies, I guess. But yeah, this is a Red Cross doing a hardcore side project type thing, and it doesn't really work either. So I guess my favorite one is this Sky Saxon, Sunlight, Sky Saxon, Purple Electricity. It's actually a Sky Saxon song, but it's Jeff and Steve McDonald from Red Cross are the ones that got this to happen. And it's a live gig with a singer from the Seeds. And it's a really good garage rock album. If you find this for cheap, pick it up if you like garage rock. The next one is a song that is uncharacteristic of a band. And first thing that came to my mind was Revolution 9 by the Beatles. Because I've been listening to that album in my car pretty much nonstop. I bought the new 3 CD set of that. The last album you purchased is this one right here. It's Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, the Mirror Man Sessions. Mirror Man was the only album that I was missing from my Captain Beefheart collection. I had an original. In fact, I bought it in, I believe it was 71 when it came out. And it's gone. And I've seen some originals. I mean, this is not my favorite Beefheart album. Let me put it that way. It's got some really good jams on it. But man, as soon as Captain Beefheart starts playing that sax, it's like, oh my goodness. And the harmonica, it's horrible. But so it wasn't really high on my priority. But now that it's the last album I don't have, I saw this album. It's music on vinyl pressing, and I've had really good luck with music on vinyl. And I thought, you know what? This is a double album. And it has all the different, all the stuff. Well, not all probably, but it's a double album from those sessions. So I thought, you know what? I'm getting this. Now the next one, I believe it's a great album with a bad cover. Now I have a few I'm going to show here. Now, I've heard James Griffiths for one, but I've heard other people say that they're not really visual people. I am. I was an art major. I took graphic design classes in college. So I have kind of a different take on it than a lot of people. And this is one I'm picking. It's not a great album. It's a good album. It's Mountain, Flowers of Evil. This Fauna Pier Mountain is pretty cool. But they just got this picture here pasted in the middle. It does not really go with the font. And then you got this track listing around. And it's just, design-wise, it doesn't work. I mean, it's just, it has like a patched together feel to it. And none of it flows good. If that makes any sense. Another one, it's not a great album. It's a good album. It's the Hermits, both sides of Hermits. That is a piece of crap illustration. I mean, that is horrible. Another one with not a great album, but it's a good album with a horrible illustration is this one. I mean, just the whole idea of a trash can on the cover is kind of nyeh. But this is a crappy illustration. And it's just floating there. I mean, I don't know. I think this is a terrible album cover. Now this one here, it's another one that's a good album. It's not a great album. But this one's so bad, it's kind of cool. It's Battered Citizens, and it's police brutality. And you got this, this really crude drawing here. And I guess the guy couldn't draw feet, so the feet are just cut off, And this is actually, there's a series of these. There was 3 of them on Mind Cure Records. And if you look, this is just a blow-up of the cassette tape. This was the spine, this is that little flip, and this was the... And it's bands from Pittsburgh that, never got released on record. They were only released on this, I think it was actually Mind Cure tapes back then, back in the 80s, and they started releasing these, but then they went bankrupt, or I don't know the story. But yeah, this is a good record with a pretty bad cover. Now we're getting into some this is another one that's a good album. And I don't know. This album cover is kind of ill-advised, to say the least. These dudes in hoods, I mean, Garage Punk Unknowns, Volume 1. Now, I saw this in the dollar bins at Middle Earth Records in Downey, California, back in the 80s, and there was 4 volumes. I only picked up the 1. I wish I would have got all 4, but it's a good album, but that cover's a bit dicey. Now we're going to get to the 2 great albums. I'm showing quite a few of these. I think this is a great album, but this album cover pretty much sucks. 10 Years After, Cricklewood Green. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. And even the illustration in the middle, in the gatefold, it's better than the cover, but it's not really that great either. I mean, honestly. But the one that takes the cake for me is Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. It's a great album, but I think this cover is pretty crappy, to be quite honest. I think the gatefold's better. Well, it's just typical shit there. But yeah. Now, the next one was a bad album with a cool cover. I actually only have one, what I would call a bad album in my collection. And it really doesn't have a cool cover. But I do have some that I think are really cool covers that are albums that aren't all that great. I'm going to show this one. It's Jerry Yester and Judy Henske. Farewell, Abadabadu. It's on Straight Records, the Zappa label. Again, it's a cutout. I got this in the dollar bins in the 70s. I think that's a great cover, you know. And even the gatefold's pretty cool. But I just haven't connected with this. It's not a bad album, but I just haven't connected with this. And I gave it a try probably 6 months ago again, and I don't know, man. I think it's her vocals, if I remember right. But the one bad, I might as well show it. The one bad album that I do own, it's the Monkees, Changes. I think this was the last album by the Monkees, and as you can see, there's only 2 Monkees left. And I always thought it would have been cool if one of these guys, especially both of these guys actually could sing pretty good. If one of these guys made a solo album and just called it The Monkey, you know, I thought that would have been funny. But yeah, this is a horrible album. And the cover's pretty horrible too. I think the next one is to show a blues album. And I'm going to show this John Lee Hooker album, Madman Blues. Now that's a good cover right there, you know. That is what I would call a good cover. The back cover's cool. And a really nice gatefold. Now, I'm showing this. This is the only John Lee Hooker that I own. And quite frankly, I think it's the only one I need to own. I mean, I like John Lee Hooker, but I don't need to. I mean, Tales from the Crate has a big, vast collection of John Lee Hooker stuff. And this does it for me. I mean, I might pick up that Hooker and Heat one. But I remember back in the day, I wasn't really a big fan of that one either. Now, what's an earworm song? I mean, there's millions of those. But the first one that came to mind was that na 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 hey hey goodbye. I mean, that tune just sticks in your head, you know. A historically important artist. I was gonna show the Beatles and show like Meet the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, Abbey Road, you know, just the historical significance of the Beatles. I think in the 60s, there's nobody that tops it in rock music, even Elvis. But I had a Bip Bop Boom, another shout out, great channel. He answered one of my comments on a video he made, and I told him a little story, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to work this story into this video. So the historic band I'm going to show is Metallica. Thrash band. They weren't necessarily the first thrash band. And I remember I had some friends in the 80s that I was really the only one that was really into punk. I had some that kind of like some. They liked the Fear album and whatnot. But I remember hearing Kill 'Em All for the first time, and I remember telling him, I go, it's punk rock music with guitar solos, you know? And, oh no, dude, this is thrash. I don't even know if he said that. I don't know if thrash was a term back then. But it basically was punk rock. I mean, there were bands that were doing that sound not way before, but before Metallica. And there's probably thrash bands that were doing it at the same time. And Slayer's one of my favorites. In fact, I just picked up a Slayer album and it's going to be in my next vinyl finds. But anyways, the reason I'm showing these guys is I saw these guys 3 times. But the first time I saw them was in '88 at the Monsters of Rock. The headliners was Van Halen, then Scorpions, Metallica was there, Dokken, and I don't remember the other 2 bands. We were in the parking lot partying. We missed them. But it was at the Coliseum, LA Coliseum. I mean, for football games, that place sits almost 100,000. So, I mean, and it was assigned seating. And they had all these chairs lined up on the football field. And Metallica comes on. I thought Dokken was pretty good. Metallica comes on. And, man, the kids in the stadium seats where me and my friend Robert were, they started going to the entrances to the floor, you know. And they busted through, like right in front of us. They started getting through. And the cops were brutal, man. They were over there beating the shit out of these kids, taking them. I don't know, they just kicked them out or busted them or what. Or took them backstage and beat the shit out of them some more. But they finally plugged up that hole. But as soon as they plugged up that one, man, the kids over here. And they beat the shit out of these kids. And finally, they couldn't deal with it anymore. And the festival seating became, the assigned seating became festival seating. And it was funny, man. All these people up on the, out on the field, and they were getting the chairs, and they were like passing them above to where the stage is, and the bouncer guys were like throwing. There was like there's a video of it. There's piles of all these chairs in front of the stage, and then towards the end, the one thing, I don't know if it was probably Van Halen. Van Halen and the Scorpions played through a different sound system than the other 4 bands. And Metallica blew out the sound system. And it sucked. I mean, they played for a while, but then the chairs started flying, dude. They were flying towards the stage. And Metallica, they all stopped playing. They were sitting there on the drums, thing. The riser where the drum set is, and they were just watching the crowd go crazy. And Scorpions came on. I had never heard the Scorpions, and I thought they were really great. Van Halen came on, they were not all that great. But that tour was the changing of the guard from the old metal to what was coming. And I think Metallica was the ones that finally busted that door open, man. So that's why they're historically significant. The other time I saw Metallica, it was at a Lollapalooza. They were headliners. Very good concert. The Ramones played. The Ramones kicked ass. Devo even played, and Devo were fucking great. And I remember Rancid had their, Rancid was there, and I was kind of looking forward to Rancid. And they had like the 2 songs they played on the radio. Those songs were pretty good, but I don't know. To me, they weren't all that. But yeah, Metallica's my choice. Long story short. Okay, an album you own because of your parents. Well, actually, I own all of these because of my parents. If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be here. But I get what you guys mean. And I'm going to show 2 records. This one here is Bottoms Up with the Locals. featuring Betty Taylor. Look at this, man. It's even got the, what are those called? The flip back sleeve. And the next one is Ankle Deep and Bitter. These are British pub song albums. My parents were both from London, and if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't own these, you know. Alright, dollar finds. Best dollar finds. Well, me and my brother, we used to do, I got quite a few albums, dollar find albums in the 70s. Me and my brother, I remember even at Kmart, they used to have 3 for $1. But here's one I got that I think is a really good album. Jeff Simmons, Lucille Has Messed My Mind Up. You can see, now that's a cut corner, dude. And good album. It's on the Straight Records, the Frank Zappa label. Another one that's cool is Lamb. What is this? A Sign of Change. This is a cool album. Dollar bin fine. In fact, this is a demonstration model copy. Woohoo! Now, in the 80s, I continued to buy a lot of dollar stuff finds. And in fact, that's when I bought all of my Motown stuff. Four Tops, Yesterday's Dreams, the Marvelettes, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. These are all dollar finds, you know. Cloud Nine, The Temptations. Really cool. Motown was cool. And I got one more here. The Temptations with a Lot of Soul. Still in the Shrink. Clan Records. Our price, $4.39. I probably paid $1. But without a doubt, my best dollar finds was the Stooges album. I don't know if this is a first press, because I've seen a picture sleeve, but this is the sleeve that came with mine. And I bought this pretty early, man. 71 or something. Maybe 70. And then this one I got in the dollar bin too. Iggy and the Stooges, Raw Power. I do not have a Funhouse. That's a big hole to answer that other previous question. Favorite double no. Favorite double album? The Beatles' White Album. It's I don't think it's the best Beatles album, but it's my favorite. So, and the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. So I gotta pick that as, you know, and I don't have it on vinyl. I have this CD when it first came out. I have the new one with the Esher Demos, the 3 CD set. But it's in the car. That's what I've been listening to. Driving my wife crazy. My birthday's coming up. I might get the vinyl, the 2 double album set. But it's like $99. The other thing I noticed when I was at Amoeba, the Sgt. Pepper one, when it came out last year, those new remixes, which I think is fantastic. The Sgt. Pepper one is fantastic. It was like $29, and I go, nah, I just bought the CD. But now it's selling for like $24. I might, next time I go there, I might pick it up. An album you learned about from the VC in the last year, and I'm going to pick this one, The End, Introspection. This was a Record Store Day album. It's really cool. It's got the album, and then it's got outtakes. I love this album, man. And I checked off the ones I wanted on the list from Record Store Day, and I just passed this one by, and the Hog's Ear Report made a comment on somebody else's video about this, and I go, oh, let me check it. Okay, I'll check that one out, and thank you, Hog's Ear Report. This is fantastic. A 10-inch record? Well, we got to show everybody's favorite, G.G. Allin. Got a picture here, G.G. and Drag. I can't remember what band that was with. And here he is here with his, and there's the back cover. G.G., everybody's favorite. A 7-inch record. I got 4 of these boxes full of 7 inches. In fact, my last video was the Sub Pop one, and those were all 7 inches. Watch it, it's cool. But I'm gonna pick a couple at random here. Okay, we got The Exploited, Dead Cities, back with Hitler's on the charts again. Rodney on the Rock was a DJ at K-Rock, and he played Hitler's in the charts again. And I go, man, that song is great. So I tracked this 7-inch down. Oh, this is another cool one. The Fearless, Iranians from Hell. It's a EP, got Theme, Land of the Free, Blow Up the Embassy, and the Iranian Clan. And one more. Oh, here we go. JFA, Blatant Localism. Their first 7-inch EP. This is a fantastic song. Out of School, Do the Hannigan, Count, and my 2 favorite songs, Beach Blanket Bong Out and Cokes and Snickers. Coke and Snickers, all I eat. Whatever. And one more. Grace Jones, Nipple to the Bottle, duh. You probably just cry now, laugh later. I don't know if you're going to see that one. But those are my 7 inches. That's enough. Favorite album to fall asleep to. Now, I really don't play albums to fall asleep, you know. But I'm going to show this one because the first 2 times I listened to it, I fell asleep. And it's Andy Summers and Robert Fripp. What is it? I Advanced Mask. I like the album, but I mean, I work nights, so sometimes, you know, you're going to fall asleep during the day, and both the first 2 times I played this, I fell asleep. Your favorite VC experiences? I had a meetup on Record Store Day with Tone Scott. That was very cool. And I just had a meetup at Amoeba Records. And son of a bitch, who was it? I can't remember her name. Mother. I'm sorry. But my favorite VC experience was getting recognized. Hey, I know you. You make videos. It happened to me 3 times already. And that was pretty funny. Man, it's going to piss me off. I can't remember her name. From San Antonio. Ain't that a bitch? Advice for people making videos. I mean, just do it. I mean, I wasn't really that nervous when I made my first, but I told my daughter about it, my oldest daughter, and I talked to her later, and she goes, "Dad, I could only watch like 5 minutes of that. It was like so monotonous, and your voice was like." And I thought, wow, that's a trip, because I still to this day think the content of that first video was good, but my delivery was just like pretty bland, and I don't think I really got real comfortable until I made a video. It was called "What Is Punk," and it was a response video, and I just talked how I was feeling, and when I, you know, because I always watch them again before I post them, and I go, man, it's a little bit different, you know. But my first really good video was the Great Mustaches, or Mustaches in Rock. That was a contest entry to Metal Theologian. Another shout out to a great channel. Go back and watch that video. That was my first, I think, really good video, because I mean, I was being myself and I tried to be funny, you know, a little bit of humor I think helps. So my advice is be yourself. Try to put a little bit of humor in it. If not, it's cool. But the most important thing is just be yourself. If you're real nervous, shoot one. I mean, there's nobody there watching you. You're just talking to a camera. So, you know, get over the nerves part. But, you know, shoot one. Then watch it. If you're not happy, shoot it again. You know, shoot it 3 or 4 times, and then you know, you'll get more comfortable what to say, and maybe for the first one, kind of have an idea of what you're gonna say. You know, if you want to have a written outline in front of you, I mean, you don't need to just talk off the top, but just be yourself. And I mean, unless you want to be really big, it seems like the channels that get a lot, man. It's like all these phony baloney channels, and man, they get all these views, but I hate those channels. Some of my favorite channels, you know, they barely have 100 subscribers. And take care. Just be yourself, you know. Make a video. That's my advice. Just make a video. Damn, 30 minutes? Son of a bitch. Oh, it didn't turn on.